Hello all you beautiful people, how are you doing today? This is Lava Temptress and welcome back to my channel. Or if you're new, welcome. Today we're going to be talking about one of the Sky Factory 4 mods, and that is creating a simple storage network. So this is what we're going to create, and we're going to go into how to make all the different pieces and the different types of things that we can do with this, because it's pretty cool. And you're going to want to do it as soon as possible when you're playing. So, alright, to start off with, we need these storage cables. So for that, we need 6 stone slabs and 2 iron ingots. And that'll give us 8 storage cables. You're going to want a lot of these, though. We use them to craft a whole bunch of other things, but we're also, well, yeah, you'll see. We're just going to need a lot of those. So, the more you can make, the merrier. If you can do at least half a stack maybe to start off with. I don't know, because that's a stack of iron, but you should have iron going pretty well if you're doing your bonsai trees. Alright, so next we're going to need a storage network master. You only need one of these, and it'll work for the system that you put up, the network. Now, if you decide to create different networks, and we'll get into that in a little bit. If you do different networks, you will need one of these for each network. So this is just 4 of those storage cables that we just made, a diamond in the middle, and 4 block quartz. And I know sometimes it takes a little bit to get the block quartz, but that's okay. So we're going to need one of those. And then we're going to need a storage request table. You have to have one of these. Like, this is absolute necessary. So you're gonna need one of the network network master. Yeah, that's right. Not controller, network master. And then you're gonna need one of these. It's a storage request table. So you're gonna have a crafting bench in the middle. Again, 4 of those storage cables that we made first, and 4 gold ingots. Now you only need one of these for every one of the tables too. Now, next, we're going to need some storage link cables. Now, how many of these depends on how many you need to connect to your storage things, plus enough to get back to wherever your setup is. So that's how many, that will determine how many of these are you going to need. I made a whole bunch at once, just because I knew I was going to need them for a lot. So, but that's completely up to you. It is 4 of those storage cables surrounding a chest, which makes sense, right? Yeah. All right, so here's some of the other ones, and some of these you may not need right away. You will for sure need these, the storage link, and the rest of this. The rest of these you will need. These are optional. So this is a storage export cable. So that means anything that you have attached to it, it will only take things out of. It won't put anything in. It'll only take things out of. And this could come in handy, but it's not absolutely necessary. So, but this is a piston surrounded by 4 of the storage cables. Next, we have the storage import cable, and it does just the opposite of that one. So if you take this one and you want items imported into, say, a chest, then you would use this, and you can set it to take specific items and put it into that chest. So that is a hopper with 4 of our storage cables around it. Next, we have the processing cable, and this one, I mean, you're probably not going to use this right away. Right now, it's not super functional. If anybody has any different information, go ahead, and I'd love to hear it, but I have not found it to be super functional, but I will demonstrate in a little bit exactly how to use it. So that's going to be 4 of these storage cables and 4 gold ingots, but in the middle, we have an observer. And each one will give us 4 of all the cable recipes. Alright, now a controller. If we're going to use processing, then we will need 1 controller. So 1 controller will control all the processing cables that we have going, but we will need 1 for each network. So this is 4 lapis blocks, obsidian in the middle, and 4 of those processing cables that we made right here. All right, this one, these are getting into the upgrades, and some of these are pretty cool. So a speed upgrade is typically what you would think it would. It would speed up the import-export of stuff that you have in here. So it's a storage cable, 2 redstone blocks, and 2 gold ingots. And each one gives you 4, so that's pretty good. I like that. I like those odds. All right, next we have an operation upgrade. Activity of the cable depends on the amount of items. I honestly have not seen a use for this one. You could use it, so I'm going into the recipes, but you don't have to have this one. But if you do, you want your storage cable in the middle, redstone, just regular, not the blocks, and redstone comparators. Each of these recipes for the upgrades gives you 4 each. Next, we have a stack upgrade, and that would simply do a stack of dirt, a stack of cobble, whatever it is you're processing. It will increase the stack that it does at a time. So it is 2 redstone blocks, 2 blaze powder, and your storage cable in the middle. Almost done with the recipes. Next, we have the stock upgrade. So you would use this, keeps a specific amount of items in the attached inventory only in export cables. So first of all, you only use these in export cables, which you don't even have to use, but if you wanted to set it up this way, you could. So you would need these in order to keep, say you always wanted to keep a stack of sand. We have sand here. So say you wanted to keep a stack of sand in that inventory. Well, then you would use one of these in the export cable. You would put it in there and it would keep that in the inventory. I don't know why that would be useful, but yeah. Maybe if you're doing it in the, like the wooden crates, maybe. All right, so here's the really, really goody stuff. So we want a remote to access all this stuff, so that way we can craft and stuff from everywhere. Well, there's 2 different types of remotes, and these are very, very different and very, very important. So the first one is a storage cable, 4 gold ingots, 2 import cables, and 2 export cables. Now let me tell you, this is the only purpose I made the import and export for, which I could do it differently, but I just find it to do it easier to do the way I do it, but I'll also show you how to do this. So anyway, this gives us a storage remote, and you can use it to access your storage thing, but only 64 blocks away. And that's where this one comes in. So this is the simple storage network, and this, you can access it anywhere within the same world. So if I go to the Nether, or since we're in Sky Factory 4, if I go to the Lost Cities, it's not going to work there. If I go to Twilight, it's not going to work there. It's only going to work in our world. But I can be, out flying around or something. I can be anywhere around. It doesn't matter if I'm 64 blocks away. So if it's all the way up here and I'm all the way downstairs, I'll still be able to reach it. So there's 2 different types of remotes, but they're both very important, and honestly, you probably want both of them. So this one is 4 slime balls. You need another one of those storage network masters, 2 gold ingots, and a glowstone. Okay? So let's take, I put some items in here. So let's take, there's this first simple remote, and then there is our other remote. Okay. So this remote, each of the remotes, you're going to click on the storage master. So when you click on it, it'll tell you storage cable, storage link cable, and it'll tell you your connections, empty slots, it'll tell you everything. So I can go over here and I can see everything that's in here. So for instance, if I wanted to craft some more of those basic cables, because we use them for a lot of stuff, then I can do that, and ta-da. It also works if you go, so say for instance, a storage cable. I couldn't remember the name of it. So storage cable, but pretend we didn't have any and we didn't have the recipe there. You can also click on JEI, just like you would with a crafting table. Click on that and it'll automatically put it in there. And as long as you have enough materials in your system, you can craft as many as you want. To clear it, you just clear it out and you can just clear out your search. Or you can just go in and do that. So this one is nice because you can craft stuff in it. This one is nice. Well, after I connect it, it's nice. So shift, right click, no shift, just right click. So now once it gives us that, we know it's connected. So now I can click on it and see everything in it. But here's the thing. I can be way down here. Let's see, I don't even know. Oh, I can still access that from here. So let's go somewhere where we can't access. Can I turn on fly? I don't know. Unknown command. Okay, so. And I don't know if I go into creative. Let's see. And yeah, I can still access it. Okay, so let's get far enough away that we can no longer access that. So for instance, if you have a big base. Dun, 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 dun. What? Oh, come on. We've got to be more than 64 blocks away. Okay, we can't even see it anymore. Oh, look, we can still access it. Okay, so I have to admit it goes further than I thought it would. But now, if I click on it, it does absolutely nothing. So it doesn't even let, like I'm clicking on it to open it, but it won't do anything. Okay, so this one, I can still see. But the drawback of this one is you have no crafting grid. So you can't craft anything in this one. You can only pull out items. So for instance, this might be good if you're building something and you need to grab out more building materials to keep going. I can see that. But for the most part, you're going to use the storage remote. That did go pretty far, I have to admit. That was a bit farther than I thought it was going to be. So that was nice. So yes, this one you can't craft anything, but this one you can. And you see, I typed the E on the other one, but it all connects together. So whatever you typed on this one, so if I type storage, it'll pull up on this one automatically. So not that that really matters so much, but I just wanted you to be aware of that. So that is the difference in the two remotes. So if you're going to go way far out to build, you know, you want to use this one. I mean, yeah, you want to use that one if you go pretty far out to build. But for the most part, you're going to use this one here because it allows you to craft items. All right. All right. So first of all, how do we even set this up, right? So you want to put your storage network master and you want to put the storage request table on any of these sides. It can be on the top, it can be on the bottom, or it can be on any four side. Okay. So you can see right now that everything's connected here. You can also access everything from just clicking on the storage request table too. Okay, but what happens if I disconnect it? Whoops, that's a powerful. Oh, I'm in game mode. Darn it. That is why I do not like switching modes, because I forget. Okay, so we want this one here, the request table. All right, so see, it doesn't matter if we put it there or there. As long as it's within one block directly connected to the storage master, then it's fine. Now for this one, these are the ones that I use the most. These are the storage link cables. Now the storage link cables, and you can even have a regular cable connected to here, but anytime you're close to a chest or anything, then you would want a storage network link cable, because that means it's going to link this inventory to the system here. Okay. And it works on all kinds of stuff. Now, if you click on it, you can change the import and export output only. So, and we'll get into that. It's automatically set on blacklist. On whitelist, only the things that you have in here will be able to come through. So most of the time you're going to use it on blacklist because you want everything to go through. Now you can also change your priority, and it'll even tell you if you do smaller priority, that'll go first. So say this one you wanted it taking out of this inventory last, so you just simply put it up to 1. Most of the time you won't go too far, but just put it up to 1. That means it'll take it from other inventories before this one. Okay, so say you wanted to keep a certain item in here, that is how you would do it. All right, so this will come in really handy. Let's grab some storage link cables out of here, but let's also grab export cables. Now, import would be the opposite, so I'm not going to show you that, but I am going to show you if you use an export cable. So we're going to put an export cable on here, and need some of the regular cables. Dun, dun. There they are. And again, that probably would have been faster if I just would have connected. Now you need to connect them together. There we go. All right, so this is an export cable. So you have slots up here where you can add modifiers. So say we wanted to put some speed modifiers on here, right? So it's going to take whatever's in here and put it in the system. But it has to be a higher priority. And if we look, there you go. You can see, well, can we see it changing? It's not exporting it. These are a bit buggy. These are why I don't use these. Okay. So you can pull whatever's from here and tell it to import all that. That's what this little button is for. So now that it's on that, so I'm going to start pulling it. See, it's still not pulling it, which it should be pulling it already. But it's not pulling anything. So that's what it's supposed to do. But as you can see, it's not really working. Even if I take those out, it's still not pulling anything in because it'd be here, there, and one of those. Now let me show you the difference if we add a storage link cable. Okay. So now, if you look here, you can see in here we have none of that stuff in our inventory. But if we pull out our remote and look, we can actually see everything that's in that chest. We can see. Now, here's something I want to show you because this is really, really important. So say we filled up all the slots in here, which is going to be really hard to do, but let's fill up all these slots. I could have done this without on camera, but I just wanted to show you real quick. Well, as quick as possible. What would happen if you forget to put that in the setting? All right, almost done. Hang in there with me. All right, so we have 2 slots open here, right? So let's add all this to the system. So when you're in here, doesn't even matter if that's cleared. You can simply click and add stuff to the system from your inventory. But here's the problem. All those slots were full, so where'd the rest of it go? Well, it went in here because there was empty slots in here. So here's what we want to do. We want to take all that back out, and we don't want the extra stuff in there because that's just for this stuff, right? So you want to go back here, click on this, right click, and you want to put it on output only. That means anything that comes in here, nothing can be put in here from the system. It can only be, so now if we try to put stuff in, now it's not putting anything in there. So where did it put some of the stuff? Oh, it stacked some of it with what was already in here. Now, the thing is, with these chests, there is no way to, like, organize them. Which, yeah, these don't either. So it's not on Sky Factory, so you can't do that. So you would have to take all this back out and reorganize it. But see, that's why the speed upgrades and this won't go in there, because there's not a space for them. So if you connect it to your bonsai chest, make sure you put it on export only. Okay? Now, another thing is the processing cables. Now, I told you could use these, but I don't use them a lot. And I just don't use them a lot because the functionality of them isn't like the greatest. You can't like auto craft stuff, but you can do a few things. And so if you find this interesting, then you know it's something that you might want to do. So I have a furnace here. It's just a regular vanilla Minecraft furnace. We have some coal in here, and we can put a processing cable on the back of it. The only problem is you can only process one thing at a time. So say we're going to tell it we're going to stick a piece of sand in, and we want to get a piece of glass out. And it'll say transaction valid. So then we could go over here, right? There's no glass in here, but it's going to automatically take that glass and pull it out and put it in the system. Well, it's supposed to. So if it's stuck waiting for a result, this will swap it back to recipe node to gather ingredients. Well, it's not pulling it out. Okay. Let's see if we put, I know why. It's because I put it in there. Okay, so let's switch it. You have to, the way it works, and this is why you might want multiple systems. So if you put your sand in here, you see it automatically disappears. It's automatically going to take one sand and cook it. Then it'll pull the glass back out because it completed what you told it to do. You can only do it on one thing though. So the way I would see this would possibly come in handy, but this is not something I do. But I could see how possibly you would have to have different setups, because your main storage setup, if you wanted to store sand in here, but you've told this to always take the sand and turn it into glass, it's not going to store sand in here as long as you have fuel here. It will not do that because it will automatically pull it out of your system and turn it into glass. So if you had multiple systems, I could see that being a functionality. But then I could see, why don't you just add a hopper on top of the furnace and do it that way? Hopper on the bottom, pull it out into a chest. Or you can put the hopper on the bottom and pull it out into a storage link cable. So, I don't find that a very good functionality. But if it's something you wanted to do, you could. I just don't think it's that fantastic. So, that is why I don't use those. And as far as the other cables, they don't seem to work for me, at least right now. They don't seem to work very well. So I always use the storage link cables. And remember, you only have to have the storage link cable connected to the inventory that you want it to pull out from. So the storage cables will work for everything else, but you have to have the storage link connected to these. And remember, on anything that you don't want it to put stuff in, to have it always on only output. All right, I think that's it for this. There's different, one thing I didn't say, which you probably want to, it works on all different types of storage. So, like for instance, I like using the wooden crates. So you can also connect, well, connect. Let's just put it here. Okay, so if you had a setup where you had, let's see, what are we going to store in there? Let's store glowstone in there. So then we store our glowstone in there, and we need our storage link cables. So then we tell it, we connect it. I connect them in the back because then it doesn't show. But it doesn't matter where you connect it. You connect it, but then you click on it and make sure and say, it's okay if it's on input and output. But if you want it to go into this one first, make sure this one has a lower priority. So it has -1. So it means any glowstone. So if you shift, you can take just a few out. So if I take a few out and put it in the system, instead of it sitting in here, and that one was already in there, instead of it sitting in here, then it'll automatically put it in there. So it makes it nice. Oh, apparently I missed that one. There we go. So it makes it nice so that way if you want a storage system like this set up, it'll automatically put these in here. Why is my heart's going nuts? That was weird. I have these automatically on. I don't know why it was going nuts, but whatever. It's still cooking that glass. So that is, I think that's it. That is the basics. It is a very simple system and it's very easy to set up. Yet, as you can see, it is very, very fantastic. It allows us to go exactly where we need to be and be like, you know how it is. You get downstairs and you're like, I forgot to grab this, and you have to run all the way back up. Well, with your remote, you can just pull it out. Now, one thing I will say, if you accidentally click on the remote that you're using and try to put it in the system, because I've done where I automatically put a whole bunch in, it'll do one of two things. It freaks out on me all the time. One, it'll just pop it out here like you threw it out of your inventory. Since I don't see it right here, if I go upstairs, or even if I have the other remote on me and look, then, let's see, yep, it stuck it back in the system. But if you don't have your other remote on you, because you didn't make that one, just click on the storage request table. There it is. So don't freak out. I actually made another one because I freaked out and I was like, oh my god, I deleted it on accident. No, it's fine. But that's it. If you enjoyed this little tutorial on how to set this up, be sure to let me know. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. And that's going to be it. So hopefully you're enjoying. And if you do, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to see this and many, many more. Alright, until next time, this is Lava Temptress. Don't get burned.